Alright, well it is June 6th and it's a beautiful evening. We are going to have a lot of rain this weekend, and sometimes that concerns me with this particular garden because I grow a lot of peppers and cucumbers in containers, and I put little wash bins underneath them and they will sure fill up real quick, so I have to keep them emptied when we're getting a lot of rain. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what's growing over here and what I've been working on pretty much since spring. Over here are just some cucumbers that I grow in containers. I'll leave a link below the video so you can see my harvest a couple of years ago where I grew cucumbers in containers. They did great. I plant 2 per 3-gallon container. So what I'm growing over here let's see, this one to the left is Market More, which is just like a slicing cucumber, and then in the middle is Jade, which is an English cucumber, and I think this one's another Market More over here. I lost one of my seedlings in this container, so that's why there's only one plant in there. Now, I experimented a couple of years ago. I grew 1 plant per container and I grew 2 plants per container, and they produced just fine either way. So this year I decided to do 2 per container, and when they need water I just put water down there in the bottom, and the roots of the plant and the soil will wick up the moisture that it needs. If water is sitting in there for too long, I'll dump it out because I know the plant is fine. It doesn't need any more water. Okay, and then right here in the middle I'm growing bush cucumbers. I think you only grow 1 of those per container, so this will be the first time I've experimented with a bush cucumber, and I just let the cucumbers that are vining like these other ones just grow along the pavement, no problem. Now this I'm just thrilled about. So this is what I'm going to call my cucumber tower. All of the pockets of this GreenStalk system are filled up with pickling cucumbers. I thought this would be a great way to make my pickles this year because I don't really have enough space to just grow all pickling cucumbers, but you really need to have a lot come in at one time so that you'll have enough, cucumbers to make some really good pickles. So anyway, I hope this works out fine for me. I will need to at some point here soon put a net, an insect net over it, which GreenStalk now sells, because I'm starting to notice some kind of leaf damage on here, and I've been inspecting the plants for some type of it's probably a beetle of some sort. I'm not sure, so I may spray it first and then put a net over it. And if you want to see how I use different types of pesticides for different types of insects, I'll leave a link for you. I particularly focus on 5 different kinds of bugs that I find a lot of times in my garden. And so the links will be down below the video, and I may just include little pop-up cards off in the top right corner too. Okay, now this one, same thing. These are all jalapeno peppers that I'm growing in this GreenStalk, because I practiced with pickling jalapenos last year and just loved them. They were so delicious. And so again, I wanted to make sure I had enough peppers coming in at one time to pickle just several quarts to make it through the winter. So there you go. Look at how nice they're looking. Looking really, really good right here. And so I'm just thrilled about that. And then over here is my lime tree, my Kaffir Lime Tree. I have a quick story to tell you. I put this in the garage like I do every year so that it can overwinter in there and be protected from the snow and ice. And it just kind of got away from me and I forgot to water it. And I was absolutely 100% certain this tree was dead, and I'll show you some pictures. All of the leaves were crumbling off. The wood was yellow. It would just snap off. There was no green on it whatsoever, and that was in like January and February and then into March. I was hoping I'd see some kind of signs of life. And I was just trying to think, well, what am I going to do with the tree? I'll probably use it to smoke some fish with, because I was trying to figure out what to do with the wood, and then I already had plans for the container, and it was bittersweet. It's so hard to take care of a tree that was getting so big, But at the same time, I've had it so long, I really was really sad that it had passed away on me. But as you can see right now, look at it. It's much smaller canopy because all of the outside wood died. But sure enough, I started watering it, and we got a good rain, and before you know it, there was new growth popping out all over the tree. I was just amazed, and so was my husband. He was like, he could not believe that tree was still alive. So there you go. Just don't ever give up on your plants. You know, you never know if they're just going to bounce back. So I think I've even seen a couple of blooms on here already producing little limes. So let's get a big round of applause for that Kaffir Lime Tree. I'm just thrilled about it. So there you go. Anyway, that's my story on that. And then just a bay leaf plant that I have to put in the garage. Most of these have to be sheltered in the winter because they'll die. They don't belong in my zone. And then a baby lime tree that I've grown from seed. Another bay leaf plant. And then back in here is an allspice tree that's not doing well at all. Not sure why, but I'll try to give that some attention here soon. Lemongrass is looking wonderful. Another tree right down in here. You can see it right down there. And then galangal here, which likes a little bit of shade. Alright. And then over here is another tree that I've been growing from seed for quite a while. And I also almost lost this tree. It was dead. This is the calamandan, and I lost actually half of it. Did die for sure, but now I have some new growth on there. I'm always looking for new growth. That'll tell you how your plant's doing. So if you get new growth, like you see these light green leaves, that's all new growth. That means your plant's happy and it's thriving. Now, if the new growth starts to wilt over and it's been hot and dry, then you know that it needs some water. So I noticed one of my plants was doing that the other day. All the new growth was just wilting over, but the old growth was fine, which just told me it just needed some more water. Okay, potatoes, growing those in a little grow bag this year. I grew them last year in a grow bag too. They did okay, and so I'm trying it again. And so you might notice something new if you are an old subscriber. This is a greenhouse that I put together in February. It was sent to me by a manufacturer, and I really, was enjoying it for a while. And then I went out of town last weekend, and when I returned, it had just completely fallen apart. The cover just is disintegrating. I'm not sure what the problem is. I guess it's just not supposed to be in the sun. But it's a greenhouse, so go figure. Anyway, I'll probably just tear that cover off and still use the shelving, which will be great for plants and things. So I'm just really glad I didn't do a review on it. I mean, I did take a lot of time to do video footage on how to put it together and how long it took me, because I wanted to, promote it if it was a good product. So I always do like to try to try things out first, even if it's growing a plant, to see what kind of problems I have. If it's a product, I like to use it for a while before I recommend something. So I will not be recommending this, unfortunately. At any rate, okay, let's go ahead and continue on here. And this is my Meyer lemon tree. About 1 month ago, it was completely covered in blooms, very few leaves, and that's kind of the way this plant does for some reason. This Meyer lemon tree grows really funny. But now you can see there are no blooms, but there are a lot of leaves, so I might not have a really good harvest of lemons this year. But I did. For the past 2 years, I'm not complaining. It's produced way more than I ever expected. And so here are my peppers. You notice there's not quite as many as I normally have, and that's because I have the GreenStalk now, and I've also have a lot of peppers growing in my square foot garden. These are mainly going to be for seed saving. They're more culinary type of peppers, and when they start blooming, I'm going to start moving them off in distant locations so they don't cross-pollinate. So I'm growing 2 of the plants I want to save seeds from. So for instance, this one here is a Brazilian pepper, and it's called Biquino. It's supposed to be kind of sweet with just a tiny, tiny bit of heat. But they're real tiny little peppers, and I just cannot wait to try that out. And then I have 2 Scotch bonnet peppers right here, and I think this one's also a Scotch bonnet. You'll notice there's a bloom popping out on each one of them. So I'll probably be moving those into a distant area in the yard. Peppers don't typically cross-pollinate. However, if there are insects present, they can. So, and it depends on the varieties that you're growing. If they're similar peppers, they can also cross. So, just to be on the safe side, I think I'm going to separate them. So I'll separate my 2 Scotch bonnets. I'll put those in one place. And then these are just for fun. I have my Thai yellow here, and I have a Thai sweet, which also have a bloom on them. So I'll need to get those moved pretty quick here. And I have some serrano peppers, which were sent to me, I think, last year by a viewer. So I really appreciate those seeds. So I have 2 of those peppers. And then my last 2, this one right here, and I think perhaps this one, are Aleppo peppers. And I have just really enjoyed growing those. I've enjoyed using those red pepper flakes in everything, and they have so much flavor. So I love that pepper. It's definitely going to be a keeper from now on. And then this is another Bikino, and that's the other serrano there. And then I had some dill just pop up. I must have had some seed in the soil. So anyway, I have a little dill plant there. So anyway, that's what's growing over here in my subtropical container garden. And so if you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you. And again, if you're interested in the GreenStalk system, I have a discount code below the video. You're welcome to check it out. Thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a beautiful day.